So we both said that we didn't think Liberty had the horses to hang in this game. And
we did.
The truth is, we were right. They shouldn't, anyway, have the horses to hang in that game, and yet they did. And they won. What is it both? One more than the other? Is it more of an indictment on Sam Pittman in the current state of his program, or is that more of a credit to Hugh Freeze and his coaching ability to go there and win? Up 21-0 at one point in that game, gave up a cheap field goal that they shouldn't have at the end of the half. It should have been 21-0 going into the locker room.
So Freeze deserves a lot of credit. His defensive coordinator deserves a lot of credit. Is who I don't know who that is, but I mean to hold an SEC team. I mean, you think in a game against a Group of 5 team, you might give up 21 points. State gave up 26 to Memphis. Ole Miss gave up 27 to Tulsa. It happens. But you expect your offense to be able to deliver, and they didn't. So give Freeze and his team and his guys a lot of credit. But, yeah, the bloom is just off the Sam Pittman rose at this point. I had them doing well this year. I had no idea how bad they were going to be defensively, and they are awful defensively. And now they have to play LSU and Ole Miss in back-to-back weeks. They could very well be 5-6 when they play Missouri. And that game could be for bowl eligibility for both teams. That is an incredible statement. That team was ranked in the top 10 at the end of September. And I just saw now that 2 defensive backs will not play in the LSU game. So, I mean, this is the worst pass defense in the SEC, and it just keeps getting worse for the Razorbacks. So, yeah, with Pittman, we love the down-homedness, and you couldn't help but be a little bit better than Chad Morris, who's just – I wouldn't let Chad Morris manage a car wash. It would go out of business within 2 months. But now it's to the point where, okay, you're kind of not what you're supposed to be at this point. You were better last year. You won 9 games. You looked great. This year has been a total, regression. The West is just bad. Yeah. The West is bad. I mean, Alabama and LSU's good. Alabama would beat most teams in college football.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is like this big enigma. It's like when they're playing their best, unstoppable. When they're playing their worst, you run over them like there's nothing. They're not even there. They've only done that with one game, though. And then you have State, who I think State's not a very good team, and then Arkansas is not a very good team, and then A&M and Auburn are legitimately bad.
Get a message here. Freeze is just a heck of a coach, may not be a good human, but a great coach. There's no doubt. I mean,
no doubt.
But there hasn't been that doubt because we got another one that says Hugh Freeze probably just got a big-time job if he wants it with that win. And maybe that makes people look at him differently. Maybe so. But that's the thing, man, is he's got a lot of big-time wins already in his career. It's not like he's Jamie Chadwell, right? That Jamie Chadwell's very unproven.
We had this discussion Friday,
Yeah. I like Jamie Chadwell.
I mean, he's already beaten Alabama.
Yeah, twice. Beat Alabama. Won a Sugar Bowl at Ole Miss, which is not something that happens very often.
Has beaten LSU, has beaten Auburn, has beaten Arkansas, has beaten Mississippi State.
He's beaten every team in the SEC West.
I'm trying to think who he beat in the East. Did not
beat Georgia.
Wasn't it 2016?
No, he did with Chad Kelly. He's got a win over Kirby Smart's Georgia.
Yeah, beat Georgia. Wouldn't have beaten Florida. Would have beaten Tennessee. I mean, the guy's won, and then not to mention the fact that he, won a Sugar Bowl. I mean,
yeah.
The resume's fine. It's what you're not putting on the resume that keeps people away. And it's just like you said earlier, is Auburn willing to say, you know what? We're not going to look at that. We're going to focus on the football thing.
Yeah.
And if somebody asks, we're going to talk about forgiveness. Now, will it be funny? I don't know who it'll be funnier for, you or me. We're both going to laugh. I don't know who's going to laugh harder. But, man. I mean, I feel like I feel like they're going to make a huge swing at Kiffin. They're going to tell Kiffin something like $100 million over however many years, all fully guaranteed. Do what you want. Hire who you want. You have full control. And if that doesn't pan out, Freeze is a safe option. He will win there.
For how long? That's what Auburn's got to weigh now. If they actually want to consider him, which reportedly they are, you know that the ability to coach football at a high level is there. There's no doubt. He proved it again. Watched him beat Arkansas with Liberty on Saturday. That happened. What's fascinating about him and Auburn in the situation is there are other candidates that don't provide a personal risk. And that's how I would classify. People keep doing the NCAA is not a problem anymore. It was just a player sleeping on a coach's couch. That's not what anybody's talking about in terms of risk. It's not that. It's personal risk. All football coaches have skeletons. They might, but this in particular, you know about them. They are published on Front Street. You've seen them. They've been dissected in your science class. He named all 209 bones on that skeleton. Everybody's seen it. And it will be more scrutinized than any other coach in college football, heavily. You cannot misstep if you're him back at a big-time job because the SEC is filled with killers. Liberty has no killers. You can hide there. There's no scrutiny. In the SEC West, there's scrutiny. So they've got to decide if that's worth it. But you know the ability to win at a high level is there. Take Lane Kiffin. You know that the ability to win at a high level is there, but Hugh Freeze would come at half the cost, I think. So the financial risk is there for Kiffin. Dan Lanning's another candidate, apparently. You don't have to worry about personal stuff, right? Apparently. You don't have to. The personal risk is not there, but you don't know if he's got the entire body of work.
1 year. Players that were recruited when he got there. He brought in the grad transfer Bo Nix, but I mean, I can't tell you with any certainty that he knew what he was getting. I mean, my guess is Dan Lanning was looking at Bo Nix going, I kind of know what I'm getting, and we'll see how it goes at best, right? Dan Lanning couldn't have been, off of his experience of playing him at Georgia, looking at Bo Nix and saying, this is a guy I can turn into a Heisman candidate. Couldn't have been. So, I mean, credit for doing it.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do, at Auburn, where you got to bring in another quarterback? It's first order of business.
I've seen this sentiment from the text line. I've seen this like 3 times already. If Auburn hires Kiffin, Ole Miss should rehire Freeze. He's learned his lesson. How do you know? How do you know?
Let that happen.
No, it won't. As long as the current leadership is in place at Ole Miss, it's not going to happen. It won't. So entertaining that's not even worth the time. But how do you know? That's what I saw that from people all weekend. Oh, he's learned from his mistakes. How do you know? Or are you just projecting that because he's winning football games? Again, there is no scrutiny at Liberty. None. You can do whatever. You can get away with whatever you want. It's a little bit different in the SEC. To pretend like it's not a risk for anybody, I think it's a little foolish. That being said, if you can stomach the risk, you're going to get a winner. No doubt about it. And he proved it again on Saturday and basically lobbied for the job after the game as well. Straight up, as close as a coach can get to begging for a job publicly, he begged for the job publicly. Not through Jimmy, not through sources. He wants it. He said as much. Auburn would win right away if they did it. But you always have that thought in the back of your head, just wondering if something else is going to happen. We'll see if they go down that road.